Speaking of getting old, the most common question that I get on my channel, people are constantly asking, how old are we?
Ooh.
There have been quite a few people that think we are in an age gap relationship, like that he is significantly older than
I am a crate hole robber!
No,
Definitely.
he's not.
To finally settle this question once and for all so that nobody will ever ask this question again, I will answer very vaguely and say that we are in our early 40s. Both of us.
Merry Christmas, everybody. It is December 24th, which means Christmas has officially begun. I mean, technically most people think it's the 25th, but my family's European, and so we always start Christmas on the 24th in the evening, so in just a few hours, it is going to be Christmas. 2 days of Christmas, which, what is better than that? My name is Hannah, you're watching Wife Without Kids. This channel is all about supporting people who choose the child-free life. For today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit more personal and special because it is Christmas, and so I went to my Instagram and my community tab on my YouTube channel, and I asked you guys to ask me some questions. They did not have to be related to being child-free, and you guys sent me a whole bunch of questions right here. Some of these questions were also directed at my husband specifically, so he's gonna come into the video later and answer some of those questions with me. If you're comfortable sharing things like this, do you make any money from YouTube at this point, and would you consider making merch in the future? So anybody that has a YouTube channel, once you hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time over the last 365 days, you can run ads on your YouTube videos and make a little bit of money. So yes, I have over 1,000 subscribers, I have over 4,000 hours of watch time. Yes, I do make some money. It is not a lot, but you know what? It's a little bit, so every little penny counts, right? Actually, we don't have pennies in Canada anymore, so now every nickel counts. Would I consider making any merch in the future? That is a possibility. If people were interested in having child-free merch, that is something I would definitely consider doing. Next question is, what is the best contraception method long-term? I have an IUD, but I feel it can fail and certainly don't want to deal with that. Greetings from Mexico. Hello from Canada. Oh man, this question makes me nervous because people ask me this question a lot, and I'm not any kind of contraception expert by any stretch of the imagination. I don't feel like I have really any kind of authority to let people know, hey, try this because this will work. Contraceptives are so different for every person. I've tried certain things that have worked for me really well. I've tried other things that are horrible that I would never recommend to anybody, but other people have had really positive experiences with them. So I don't really feel like this is something that I can tell people, hey, try this or try that, because I think it's so subjective and people's bodies are different. People's bodies respond really differently to different contraceptives. So I would say, honestly, talk to your doctor. That's probably the best option. And I did find this little chart I'm going to insert right here that basically shows what typically has the best rate in keeping you from getting pregnant. So that's probably all I'm going to say to that. And again, I think the best idea is to go talk to a medical professional that can guide you in the right direction. What are your favorite hobbies? I'm one of those weird people. I don't really have a lot of hobbies. Like, I guess exercise is my hobby, but it's also sort of like the way that I cope with like stress in my life. I enjoy reading. I guess baking is kind of a hobby too. Those are probably my main hobbies. How did your YouTube channel go from being about chores to focusing on child-free? For those of you that don't know, when I first started my YouTube channel in mid-2018, my channel was all about doing chores and organizing life because I love organizing and I love chores. Okay, that could also be one of my hobbies, organizing things and cleaning things. It's a weird hobby, but it's a hobby. After I did a bunch of videos about organizing and cleaning for my YouTube channel, I actually got really bored of it and I was like, I need to come up with a new idea. When people think of me, what do they think of? One of the only other things I could come up with besides being a neat freak and that I like baking is that I don't have any kids. I looked online and tried to find a few other channels that had to do with being child-free, and I literally couldn't find hardly a single one. And so that's how my child-free channel was born. All right, now I'm gonna go find my husband and see if he is willing to answer some of the other questions that you guys asked that include him. He hasn't actually seen any of these questions. I haven't shown them to him.
It's a big surprise.
Are you ever scared that your partner will wake up one day and have a strong desire to have kids?
Wow. No.
And me, definitely not either. That was easy.
That was easy.
When you started dating, how do you initiate the conversation, I don't want to have kids, with someone that you start seeing? Because I want to be a child-free woman, but I don't know how to tell my future dates about it.
I think for me it's pretty straightforward. You just say, hi, my name's Michael. Thank you for coming on this date with me. I don't want to have children.
You're saying just be upfront about it and just bring it up. Like
Exactly.
Literally say exactly what you're thinking and feeling.
You could wait until after you order dessert to do it. That might be a little bit better.
What do you and Michael do for work?
I am an IT manager, so I get to do everything with networks and computers and software and all that kind of stuff. And I actually spend a lot of time developing too. I'm a huge fan of coding and web development, that type of thing. So I've been doing that for years, and I really enjoy that. I really actually enjoy the creative part of that.
Oh my goodness, I'm getting old.
Oh,
my bones are hurting.
Literally, my leg is totally asleep.
Do you need a shift?
Oh.
We never sit on the floor.
Oh. Feeling, come back to life.
And I am trained as a physical therapist. Speaking of getting old, the most common question that I get on my channel, people are constantly asking, how old are we?
Ooh.
There have been quite a few people that think we are in an age gap relationship, like that he is significantly older than
I am a cradle robber.
No,
definitely.
He's not.
To finally settle this question once and for all so that nobody will ever ask this question again, I will answer very vaguely and say that we are in our early 40s. Both of us.
The next question is, how long have you and Michael been together in total?
Oh, that's a good question. I think 16 years.
Still together, still liking each other.
Yeah. Okay, let's just redo this whole thing.
Okay. All right, I'll just reread the question too. I'm a man who doesn't want kids, and I hear it's rare for men to choose the child-free life. Is this true? I can't find any hard data on the internet about just men choosing not to have kids. It mainly revolves around women making this choice.
I think that is true. I think that typically most guys are kind of easy come, easy go when it comes to this. If the woman is really adamant about having kids, they're like, all right. If she's not, they're like, okay. It's probably more rare. What do you think?
I think in cases where people don't have kids, it's probably more the female that doesn't want kids and the guy that will just sort of be like, yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yesterday, I cleaned out our cat litter. Like I literally took it into the bathtub and like not the cat litter, sorry. That would be kind of weird. Yeah, I was making a sandcastle in our bathtub. No, I took what is it?
The container, the litter box.
The kitty porta potty, whatever you want to call it. And I like cleaned it out, like scrubbed it, and that took a long time. I was amazed how long that took. And then put it all back together, nice and fresh, and of course they probably peed all over it now. But that takes a lot of work, and imagine having to do that with like a brood of kids, and that... It's a good word. Nobody uses brood anymore. So imagine having to do that. Like that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. What is your passion? Like if your passion is raising the next generation, that's a very noble passion to have. But I guess it's not everybody's passion. Like I have other passions and things that I want to explore. It's not that one is better than the other. They're just different. Yeah. Maybe it is a rare thing. I'm not totally sure. I haven't seen the statistics either, but there's definitely people out there, I'm one of them, that have made this choice, and I'm happy with it.
Here is a little bit of a longer question. It says, this may sound weird, but you mentioned in a previous video that you have made plans for when you are older, aging without having kids, to lend a hand. My hubby and I are making our own plans, so we would love to hear what you feel comfortable sharing.
Oh, so this is like when we retire, basically.
Yeah, like what are we doing now to prepare for retirement, because we won't have kids to take care of us.
Okay, so financially, planning for the future, Hannah and I are like super into getting out of debt, like 100%, like no mortgage, no loans. I think we've actually been doing a really good job of that. Like we don't have credit card debt, we don't have any other loans, so we're just picking away at our mortgage.
We finally paid off my massive student loan.
Yeah.
That was basically a mortgage, second mortgage.
That does require like a ton of discipline, and not having kids does get you ahead in some ways, because that's a lot of money that you're not spending, right?
We're working on paying off our mortgage, which is, yeah, I mean, it's massive, but you can do it. Like, we're just disciplined, I guess. And we both are kind of savers, so I think that really helps. We have a budget that we follow monthly. There's a little wiggle room. Like, I'm not saying if I spend like $10 extra, you know, the world is ending or anything.
No, it's like this. We need to buy iceberg lettuce. No, we're over budget. No iceberg lettuce.
Iceberg lettuce is his favorite.
Yes.
We always have iceberg
There is always more room in the budget for iceberg lettuce.
Even at $5 a head?
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, we have those things going, and then do we have an RRSP or any kind of retirement savings?
Yep.
That's the Canadian thing, RRSP. What's the American one? So the Canadian version of like a retirement savings is an RRSP.
Yeah.
And so if you want to explain a little bit about that.
So basically just off of my paycheck, I get a certain amount of money that comes off every paycheck, and it just goes in there. So we're just building up that.
We've been putting into your RRSP for a long time. Like you started it actually even before we met.
Yeah. Like getting out of debt is so huge, like so important to us.
So hopefully that answers some of those questions, is basically getting out of debt, paying off our mortgage, and saving for retirement. Also, that was not a weird question. I think that was a really important question. So this person asks, what is your favorite date or trip that you have had with Michael? What is your favorite date or trip?
Both of us actually grew up, we were not very wealthy. We were actually pretty poor. She was even more poor than I was, not holding that against her. I had never been to a warm place, like a hot place for vacation. Hannah knew this, and so she did a bit of a surprise.
Okay, so this is really exciting. After Michael told me that, I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, one day we're gonna be able to go on this trip together to someplace warm and it's gonna be really fun. Because I had been to a tropical place before and I knew how much he would enjoy it and just love like laying on the beach and just soaking in the sun and listening to the ocean and the waves because he loves the ocean. After he said that to me, this little idea popped in my head and it was just like, why don't you plan a surprise trip for Michael? And I just thought like, oh, I don't think I'd be able to pull that off. That'd be really hard to do. But I was like, you know what? I'll talk to both of my parents and see if there's any way that I'd be able to sort of make this happen. And if they're on board to help me, because I couldn't do it alone. Part of the reason I couldn't do it alone was because we share bank accounts. And it's really obvious if suddenly like thousands of dollars were being taken out of our account. I called his boss. This was like in February or March, I believe, that I planned this. And we weren't going on the trip until October. So I had to keep this a secret for over half a year. It like almost killed me. It was so hard to keep it a secret because I wanted to tell him so bad. And I remember how I told him was that it was actually it was Canadian Thanksgiving. It was the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And so we were having dinner with my sister and her family. And so my sister knew, I had already told her. And so I said, while we're eating dinner, I want to tell him that I'm taking him on this trip. And I had like already packed the suitcases. We were literally leaving that Saturday night. And so I told him, I don't know, it was like 1 or 2 o'clock when we were having our big dinner. And I couldn't wait to tell him because I was like, oh, he's gonna be so excited. And so my sister filmed it actually. I literally said to him like, we're going on a trip, we're going tonight, everything's packed. And what was your reaction?
I didn't believe her.
It was the biggest letdown ever.
Yeah.
Like I was so excited because I had this like secret inside of my heart for like such a long time. My heart was like bursting with excitement. I was expecting him to like jump up and down. He literally thought I had done this whole thing as like a prank or a joke.
It's a giant prank.
Yeah.
She's YouTubing me.
Yeah, that was way before I started my YouTube channel. Once we were on the plane, you were like, oh my goodness, we're actually going. We're actually doing this.
And just to tell you, like, I mentioned I'd never been to a hot place before. Like literally. I wore a sweater to Maui. So we got off the plane and I'm like, wow, it's hot. So I don't even think I wore pants the entire time I was there. I'm not saying I just walked around in my underwear, of course. I did wear shorts, but I was like, whoa, this place is really hot. Yeah. I'm from Canada, I'm not used to that, so.
Yeah, so it was literally, that was hands down the best trip. And we've had lots of other fun trips, but I think that, like the novelty of that.
That was really cool.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Are you planning any trips after the pandemic? Yes, my husband and I were actually just talking about this a couple of days ago, and we want to go take a trip back to Maui. We've been there a couple of times. We absolutely love it. And yeah, I can't wait to go on a trip. And you know what, even if we can't go on a really long trip, just doing a weekend trip somewhere would be really fun. But when this whole pandemic thing is over, we are definitely going somewhere. What are your favorite foods and drink? Well, I love food, so that's really hard just to pick one thing. I love fresh fruit. So I love like mango, strawberries, raspberries, and peaches. Like that's probably like my absolute favorite, which obviously in the wintertime is a little bit hard to get, but you know, frozen fruit. And then as far as a drink goes, because it's winter and I've been having a lot of hot drinks lately, I love making chai tea lattes at home, decaf style, because I'm an insomniac and I already woke up at 3 a.m. this morning. So, you know, I don't need any more caffeine to keep me wired and going. Typically, I do like to eat pretty healthy, and I do actually really like sushi. Avocado sushi is like my favorite. What do you enjoy about your career? And why did you decide on anatomy? Part of what got me interested in sort of the sciences and anatomy and rehab and all that stuff is when I was in my, I think it was late teens or early 20s, my dad had a brain tumor. The doctors were able to successfully remove the brain tumor, but after he had the brain tumor removed, it affected certain aspects of his ability to be able to move and walk. So he had to relearn how to walk and how to move and how to put his clothes on and all that kind of stuff. And so when he was first starting his rehab, I remember there was a physical therapist that would come to the house and that would do exercises with him and movement patterns and stretch him and just teach him the basics of moving again. And I was so fascinated by that. I don't really know why, but that was sort of my first understanding of what a physical therapist actually did. And to watch how my dad improved because of what the physio was doing really left an impression on me. And so when the physio used to come to the house and do these exercises with him, I actually said to her, hey, can I have like a copy of all these exercises? Can you teach me how to teach my dad how to do this? And so I remember that that was a big point of interest for me, and then just watching my dad from basically not even being able to walk to being able to like walk up and down stairs unaided and being able to do that independently was something that was really amazing. So that kind of planted the seed, and I enjoy helping people, so that's why I picked that as my career. Also, the body is like incredibly amazing. What is your favorite song? So I have kind of weird musical tastes. A couple of songs that come to mind straight off is Run by Snow Patrol. I like a lot of the Coldplay songs because I think that was a time in my life when I have really good memories and I listen to a lot of Coldplay, so, you know, that kind of sticks with you. I'm like a 90s girl through and through, to be honest. And then I really like a lot of classical music as well. I like Chopin's Polonaise. I've run a lot of miles listening to that song. And I also like Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. It has that super cool clarinet solo at the beginning. I used to play clarinet. I was never really that good. But yeah, I like that song too. What keeps you motivated to keep creating your amazing videos? Thank you, that's a very nice thing to say. Honestly, it's you guys. It's the people who take the time to watch my videos and engage with the community, and that is exactly what I wanted this channel to be. I wanted it to be a community for people that are gonna support each other through the child-free journey. So you are child-free, but you like spending time with other people's kids. What do you think about the child-free people who hate or dislike children? Also, do you think the child-free community is toxic or aggressive? Okay, what do I think of people who hate kids? I mean, that's their prerogative to hate kids. I don't hate kids, but if people want to hate kids, I guess they hate kids. That's their option. And then the second part of the question was, do I think that the child-free community is aggressive or toxic? I do think it can be. I think sadly, yes, there are people who have built their own child-free communities that are very against parents and against kids, and they spread a lot of negativity. And I personally don't agree with that approach at all. I don't see it as we need to attack each other within our different communities. I think the child-free community has been looked down on for such a long time, and they're constantly told, like, you're making a wrong decision, you can't be child-free, it's selfish. And I think some people in the child-free community retaliate against that by being negative and maybe aggressive. So I'm not saying that that's okay, but I think that's how some people deal with the constant criticism that they get. Because the child-free community does get a lot of criticism. That is not at all how I want this channel to be, ever. I never want to be aggressive towards parents and kids. I think everyone can make their own choice of whether they want to be a parent, and different things work for different people. I just think that we should be nice to each other. I think the child-free community and the parent community just need to be kinder to each other, because, you know, the world can use a little more kindness. What does being child-free mean to you?
To me, well, it means that I actually have time to explore and develop things in my life that I wouldn't have time to do otherwise. It also means that I have time to invest in other people's kids, which I think is a really positive thing. Like, kids need more role models in their lives than just their parents. For me, it's not the main priority of my life. There's other things that I want to do in life that I just wouldn't be able to do if I had children. And I'm okay with that, and I really enjoy doing those other things and having the time to do them.
And for me, it means flexibility with life, because I actually think that's really important, and I've gotten so used to having that if I didn't have it, that would be really, really challenging for me to get used to.
Another positive aspect of being child-free is that I think it actually makes having a relationship a little easier, because having children does put a lot of stress on a relationship, and it does take away time from a couple. Being able to spend time with each other, because your focus is always mostly on the children. So it doesn't have to be that way, and I think you can make time.
Thank you guys so much for submitting the questions. We had a lot of fun answering them for you. Wishing you all a very Merry Christmas, and I will see you next week in another video.
See you later.